And hello once again, this is Ted Hicks from Late Night Parents. Best ways to follow the show is latenightparents.com. Across from me is buddy extraordinaire, friend to the room, friend to me, and I think he goes by the name of Richie B.
Teddy Ted, what's going on, man? That's a different introduction this week.
Well, you know, you gotta switch it up from time to time.
Okay, all right, I'll go for that.
You
I'll
gotta
take
switch it up, and I don't know, maybe it's because of these headphones.
Feels different.
It feels different.
And the new producer that we have in the office.
Yes, the new producer that we have in the office. Producer and engineer, and he looks like he's 25 again.
I'm telling you.
Brian Graves is in the building with a new haircut.
Doing his high school internship.
Oh, my goodness. But I think he got the haircut because it's back to school time.
That's what it is. Getting
That's
ready.
That's what it must be.
Getting shaved up, getting high and tight.
Yeah.
Getting ready to go back to school. Okay, you're probably right. That's probably it.
I mean, we're hoping. As with everything, we try to start off the show very light. There's some really dark incidents that are happening, Rich.
Yep. I mean, you kind of have to say, here we go again. It's not a school this time, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
So you can't give teachers, or you can't offer them guns and
no,
offer them.
We can't arm the teachers this time.
You know, you can't offer them an extra, I don't know, $10 in their paycheck, right?
Not this time.
You know, I don't know, this craziness in Jacksonville, Florida. I would be remiss if I didn't mention, and I know a few people are going to hate this, but a lot of these incidents happen everywhere.
Right.
But
right.
Don't these things tend to pop up in Florida? Don't you hear like different pockets?
You start to wonder, is it the heat?
I don't know. It's something.
What brings all this out? But for those who may not be aware, we're referencing a shooting that happened in Jacksonville, Florida this weekend at an esports competition. So far, I believe the numbers are 9 people injured, a couple of fatalities. I haven't been able to find out an exact number on the fatalities. The suspect is one of the fatalities, though.
Right. So it's that comes into play. Like I said, the interview. Danny Thompson is our featured guest for this week. More of a friend to the room as he kicks off his podcasting and, you know, covering all different types of sports. We'll talk about Senator McCain at the second part of the show.
Okay.
After the interview, we'll talk about Neil Simon.
Yes.
At the second or third part of the show. I guess we'll jump in now. He's the editor, podcaster, broadcaster for AroundAssociation.com. Danny Thompson is in the building. Danny, how you doing?
Ted, Rich, it's a beautiful night, I guess, in Florida, but, you know, the incident today kind of dampened the nice 95-degree weather type day we're having down here today. So,
welcome to the show, Danny. Welcome to the show. Glad to hear that you're doing well down there.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, you know, the shooting today was just something that kind of changed a lot of things. You know, it changed the mindset, especially with being close to home and,
right.
You know, with it being a Madden tournament, you know, with the background of my background being at EA Sports, working with some of the guys who actually were helping throwing that tournament down there.
Oh.
So it's just like, you know, they're safe. That's a good thing.
I was about to ask. Good, glad to hear that.
Yeah, they're good. And, you know, it's just that it's so sad. And my heart goes out to the people involved in the tragedy. It's just, you know, it's video games.
Right.
Of all the places.
Right.
You know, you think schools are one thing, but a video game tournament. It's nuts.
That it is. And, I mean, it's Madden. It's video games. You're thinking, I mean, I was prepared to ask you about KSI versus Logan, but I won't even go there with that.
I'm glad because I never watched the fight, so you're good.
Oh, okay. I was watching a little bare knuckles fighting last night.
Were you? Okay.
Oh, it was great. It was great. I mean, would I ever attend it? Maybe.
Could be exciting to attend.
To attend. But I guess I'll get into it. We've got a little rapid fire with you, Danny. Got a bunch of questions. Not all pertaining to the NBA. They kind of go. It's kind of like around the horn. So I'll go with the first question or statement. Jay Glazer has joined the Golden State Warriors of journalists. And that, I mean The Athletic. And honorable mention, I want a disclaimer, I do subscribe to The Athletic. Is there no end in sight for journalists joining this online subscription newspaper? I mean, what is it? What's the end game?
The end game is collecting every person who's been let go by every single media outlet there is. You know, Ted, as you and Rich know, and probably a lot of people across the country know that it seems like at least once a week, a major publication, newspaper, or media organization is downsizing,
right,
especially the sports department. And then as soon as they're let go, or people see the writing on the wall, they're joining The Athletic. And The Athletic has proven to be the model that people will pay for quality sports content. They would.
True.
Not about their favorite. That's just their favorite teams, because the best part about Athletic is there's so many cities they have involved with so many of the best writers from those cities. You're getting all those on top of national news, on top of the best writers you're going to find everywhere. So it's proven the model that, whatever you're paying per month, people will buy. And the more people buy, the more people they're going to go after.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. Right. If that's their model, that's what they're going with. I mean, it really does make it sound like then they will just pick and choose out of every market, as like you said, the brick and mortar type publishing houses evaporate. They'll pick and choose as they can from there, and just stock their own staff with those who can fill in that information. All right, that makes sense. Interesting. All right, so here we go. We got the next round. Question 2. For this year's sleeper pick for running back, wide receiver, and defense, who do you go with?
You guys asked this question. The funny thing is, hopefully nobody in my fantasy football league that I'm drafting with in 45 minutes, about 45 minutes to an hour or so, is listening to the show. Because I want none of my sleepers getting out. So,
Danny, before you answer the question, we have billions of listeners. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the folks in my fantasy football league that I'm drafting with at 8 o'clock. So,
they're listening too. They really
hope none of those guys are listening. So if they're all listening, please hit the mute button. Go find something. Go feed a child, put a baby to bed or something. So sleepers. For me, I'm going to say if you look at running back, wow. I'm looking at, Gurley and Johnson are the main ones. I particularly like Kevin Coleman in Atlanta, actually, if you're picking in the late rounds, because Atlanta's been and Coleman's such a good pass catcher out of the backfield. Atlanta's been using a lot of the split running backs the last couple of years, and, to save on wear and tear. If you're taking a late round pick, Kevin Coleman's my guy at running back. That's the guy I'm looking at probably about maybe the 8th, 9th round.
Okay.
Receiver, Ted and Rich, I'm going with a guy in your area, Robbie Anderson of the New York Football Jets.
The New York Football Jets, not Giants.
The Jets. Football Jets, not the Winnipeg Jets, who actually win games. We're talking about the football team. So yeah, I like Robbie Anderson, especially with Sandy Arnold. With Sandy Arnold getting him the football, whoever the quarterback is, Anderson had a great second half of the season. Defense. So a lot of defenses are going to be taken, but I will give you one, and this is going to be maybe a surprise to some. I like the Atlanta Falcons defense. A defense that was in the 20s the last couple of years. Even the year they were in the Super Bowl, I think they were 22nd in defense. But they were a top 10 defense last year. And the defense is young, and they're even more experienced after playing last year. Deion Jones, Vic Beasley coming off the ends. I like them to get a lot of sacks and force a lot of turnovers, especially in a division where Drew Brees throws a lot, especially where Cam Newton is a one-dimensional quarterback, and they play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers twice. So I like the Falcons if the top-tier defenses are gone. And another sleeper, just to give you one off the top of the head, I like D.D. Westbrook of the wide receiver of the Jacksonville Jaguars, especially with Marquise Lee getting hurt last night. I think Westbrook might be a 1,000-yard receiver for Blake Bortles this year.
There you go.
So it goes to a very kind of touchy topic, what are the best subscription services for sports fans? Because everything is out there. Rich and I every week talk about Netflix, Amazon, and everywhere else for entertainment, for TV shows and movies and documentaries. What about for sports fans?
Well, for sports fans, if you're going to pay for anything, of course, The Athletic is number one on my list. I mean, like you said, they add Jay Glazer. I mean, that's just one thing. They have Shams over there for basketball. They have almost every they have a big name person for almost every sport possible. They just added Miami last week. I know of at least 7 people that on my NBA circle that have left for The Athletic in the last 6 months. So every single city as well they have that's on the market is well publicized, and it's not just regular writers you never heard of. These are some of the best of the best. So that is my subscription side of things. Otherwise, I'm a big fan of ESPN Plus. Not just for the game coverage, a lot of the stuff they do off the court. The series with Duke, I'm a Duke Blue Devil fan, the one that they're coming up, that started out in Canada with their drive for a national championship. Everything with Kobe Bryant last year in the playoffs with detail was phenomenal. They're showing a lot of sports that you don't see. They had fights that you don't have. They're also going to have a lot of the UFC stuff. And for $4.99 a month, it's not a very bad value. Anything else that subscription I can think of? I know Francesca is not on my list. I'll tell you that right now.
$8.99 to see him sit in his house.
The other one, what I was a big fan of course, the season now over, is WNBA League Pass. That was especially for the value that you were getting. I want to say it was like $12 a month. I think it was for the entire season. I think like a $50 pack for the whole season. But to be able to watch women's basketball, especially if you're a fan of women's basketball, for that price, especially every single out-of-market game, was, I think, one of the best values, especially like for me with my daughter. She loves the WNBA. And so to see little girls like her, especially in a market that we don't have a WNBA team, was just like being there every single night. So those are my 3 favorite subscription services.
All right. That covers them. That's good. All right, we're going to switch it up now, and this one interests even me, the non-sports guy. Tiger Woods. This Thanksgiving weekend, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, pay-per-view. I mean, are they trying to turn this into even more of the big brouhaha?
Yeah.
I mean, are you planning on watching?
I guess. I wish this was like 10. I wish this was like maybe 10 years ago.
Well, of course, right.
Yeah, when those two were like literally like the greatest things on earth. It kind of reminds me of 2 boxers that we've been wanting to see for a long time.
Yes.
It's kind of like the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We've been waiting for 7 years for this fight. It finally happens, and we're just not sure it should be ordered or not. I'm waiting to see the pay-per-view price before I put my Thanksgiving weekend on it. Otherwise, I'll be at Best Buy Black Friday shopping.
What's your number?
It can't be more than the KSI Logan fight. So I'm gonna say no more than $10. I just can't stomach it for more than $10. I can't.
That's cheap.
Tiger's not the same player.
I agree.
And Mickelson. When's the last time Mickelson won anything?
That's
not
true
Tiger
too.
Mickelson.
Do you think this is they see a little glimmer of the old Tiger recently, and they're like, this may be the last hurrah, so let's get everything we can out of him now?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, it sounds great on paper, but then you realize Tiger hasn't been, Tiger just had his first competitive major in a while.
Right.
And I can't remember the last time, Phil had been contending on a Sunday. I just can't remember the last time when. So I'm like, I guess, but let me see what else is on that weekend before I put my money into it.
I'm with you, I think.
This is Late Night Parents. We're talking with Danny Thompson. You can follow him on Twitter at NBADT29. My dweeb of the week rhetorical question: is there anyone on this planet, not named Donald Trump, that's more morally bankrupt than Urban Meyer?
No. I really can't. No, I think anything more would be anybody in the Ohio State Buckeyes Board of Trustees. So,
yeah.
I think the only people that could be worse than the situation, because if Ohio State had not been playing for the national championship or a top 5 team preseason, I don't think this conversation would have been had.
Got you. All right, that was an easy one. Let's. You were talking about the WNBA a few minutes ago. We got WNBA playoffs coming Is there anything we need to know? Anything special? What are you looking for? Who do you pick?
Well, the playoff format's kind of interesting because the first two rounds are basically one-game playoffs. So we've already gotten through the first two rounds. Now we're in the best of three. Atlanta and Washington tipped off today, and it is Seattle and I think it's L.A. Seattle and L.A. in the other semifinals. So Seattle and Phoenix. So Seattle and Phoenix, excuse me. What to look for in that Seattle and Phoenix series is Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird, two of the women's legends going at it potentially for the last time at a high-stakes level like this. Two teammates in college, two of arguably the greatest women's players that ever laced up a pair of sneakers in one series. And then the other series, you have the Atlanta Dream, upstart. They have Angel McCautry, a bunch of talented players against arguably the most skilled player in the league right now in Atlanta down in Washington. So there's some good stories in both series. If you're asking me for a prediction, I'm taking Seattle and Atlanta in the finals.
Okay.
I think that's what we're looking at in the finals right now.
All right.
So tell me, Danny, one of these stories to break over the past few days. What's up with Serena and the catsuit gate?
As a fan, it's disappointing. As a member of society, it's a sad thing to see because this is not the first time Serena's worn a catsuit.
Right.
This is not something she just started last week. Serena's been wearing catsuits for years. And so now we want to handicap Serena Williams or make her not wear it. And the sad part is she explained the reason why she was wearing it this time around because she had issues with blood clots because of the pregnancy she had. And for not Wimbledon because we've all known Wimbledon's rules for years. But for the French Open folks to say this was a distraction after all this time, that just proves it's a disservice to Serena. And for someone who's been graceful and who's represented the sport at such with more grace than her accomplishments on the court, it's sad. It really is sad. I can't put into words how, to me, it's disrespectful how it was. Just someone who's been an ambassador getting treated that way is horrible.
Agreed.
I want to ask you about, I guess, arguably one of the best stadiums in the league. When we talk about the league, we're talking about NFL. Atlanta's new stadium. They've reduced prices at the arena. You got $5 craft beer. You got cost-effective food. And, of course, there's Chick-fil-A, but not on Sunday, but there's Chick-fil-A. Sunday.
They won't. That's a good one, though. I mean, they could have them stored there and just not have the store open, the vending, but they could still have the guy sell them.
Right.
Let's see if they're there on Sunday.
So, tell me, do you see other stadiums following suit?
I think that it's going to be a nice trend. I think it's a good thing for the fans. I think for at least for Falcons fans in Atlanta, I think it's a reprieve after the season ticket gate situation where you could not get regular single game tickets as a Falcons fan. You had to pretty much have season tickets, in PSLs to get inside the stadium. So I think it's a nice reprieve for that. But yeah, I think it's the days of the high-priced concession stands are probably going to start shutting down because the Falcons were first. And I think there's a couple teams in the NBA who are doing stuff like that too. I think even the Hawks are one of the teams that are going to start doing reduced pricing for games at Phillips Arena. So I think it's a good thing for fans that, the days of $15 beers in the middle of the cold about to stop. I think it's a good thing, especially for the teams that have bad products. I don't think in Cleveland, as bad as the product is for the Browns, they should pay $15 for a beer. I think they should get them free beer for watching the Browns last season.
Yeah, this is something near and dear to both Ted and mine's heart. We talk about it almost every week. So it's a pleasure to see this. If it can begin a trend, that would be awesome.
Exactly.
So next question, simple. Kobe joining the Big Three. Do you think it's really going to happen?
I don't see the next year or so. I don't. Right now, Kobe's brand's bigger than the Big Three. So what does Kobe have to prove by play? What does Kobe have to gain for the Big Three?
Right.
Because he's not in the game. I mean, his brand absorbs the Big Three. Is Ice Cube giving him 50% of the league? Because if he does that, then they might be a pretty good business venture. because Kobe then makes money from the league and makes money off himself. That's a smart move. But I don't see Cube giving up control of the league, and I don't see Kobe on the court next year. So until that happens, I think Kobe will be better suited doing things like he's doing off the court now, his business ventures. You might hopefully might get him into more television. Like I said, the ESPN Plus role he did with Detail was phenomenal, and be broadcasting video games like he's on 2K this year. So I don't see him back in the big league. He has nothing to prove.
Final question, Danny. If you're a betting person, and I believe you are, what is the next stop for Jamele Hill?
Wow. I see a talk show. I see an 11 o'clock talk show on MSNBC.
MSNBC.
A talk show that kind of like Charlie Rose, where she's interviewing guests, being entertainers, sports personalities, different people. I don't see it being like a daytime show. So I was going to say daytime, but Jamele is much more of a late night type talk show host. I think that's where she's going to go next. She has the personality, and I think she would be a lightning rod for people watching, especially with the right people behind her. So I think MSNBC is a spot.
Danny, best places to find your work.
All right, so you can find me on Twitter at NBADT29. You can catch my work on AroundTheAssociation.com. I also write NFL for Fan Cred, as well as Pro Player Insiders. My podcast is Around the Association, the podcast, which is on Spreaker, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And then starting next week, I'm going to make the announcement here on the show, I will be debuting my NFL show for Pro Player Insiders. It is called The Pre-Snap. The Pre-Snap. So that starts next week, which would basically be a 30 minutes to an hour show dedicated to every game across the league with some of the best writers, talking about every single game that goes on Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays. So definitely a lot of different places. Football season started, and of course, always love to do the show because it's completely different than what I do every day. So it's always my pleasure, Rich and Ted, for joining the show every time I do.
As always, Danny, thank you, and thank you.
Yeah, Danny, thanks for joining us, and good luck with the new show.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. Always a pleasure talking to him. Even though
always a pleasure.
More your realm, the sports world, but I can.
Yeah.
I can ask a question that's written in front of me.
So I'm not sure what it is, but I tell you this much: it's the school year's here.
Oh, For some, it's already there.
It's already there. For most of the country, it's already there.
Yep.
They might have started a couple of weeks ago.
Sure.
But in the Northeast, it's just now for us.
Yep.
So post Labor Day, things are going to get started again, and the question comes down to keeping tabs on tech this school year.
Yep.
Viable topic, because you kind of wonder. I mean, one of the problems I have that I can share with you, because kids are a little bit older,
right?
So you're through this hump.
Past that, exactly.
And that's a good thing, right?
There was tech. I mean, we had different levels of tech savviness and tech engagement amongst the guys as they were growing up. One of them basically lived with something text messageable in his hands all the time. I forget what the number was. This is when you had to worry about text messages.
Text messages.
I think the number was 14,000 one month. That was the number of text messages one of the boys sent. At least there was not a pay per text message. I wasn't on that plan.
Okay.
But it still tracked the number. And we were like...
But was it still unlimited? Was it unlimited at that point?
Yeah, because it didn't cost me anything. But we were like, how do you send 14,000 text messages in a month and still do anything in school?
Right.
But he did. He did well, so, it is what it is. But tech, I mean, these days, especially like you said, the summer's over. Mm-hmm. I mean, like anyone else, while the kids are home, they're pretty much on their own, depending on their age. So they have their tech in their hands. Everyone has a phone, which means that's the introductory level to tech. Whatever, iPads, phones, traditional computers and laptops. They get caught up in it. They're dedicated to it. No one's really watching over their shoulders. So I think, like what you're saying, school year is about to be here. How do you want to make the tech more of a family affair again? Try to integrate everyone back into it, and that's it's not necessarily a problem that they're using it on their own, but it does take away from some of the things that they'll need to do in school. Reading, physical activity, maybe get up and run around. So it's now time to get back, maybe try to establish some patterns, guidelines, new ideas for tech in the family.
So I would ask you this. Would you, because I know I'm this type, and I think I'm overbearing.
No.
Where I turn the MAC address.
You lock them out.
I lock them out.
There's nothing overbearing with that. I think, one, that's an age thing, of course, and knowing the age of young Mr. Hicks.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds like a perfect thing to do. You might, there are utilities and tools you can use to have that happen automatically.
Right.
Set up times so that he has an account. It's like, all right, well, this is you get 5 hours.
Right.
Use them how you see fit, but at the end of the time, cut, click, buzz.
We have someone that reached out this past week that has another tool that controls,
your
screen
connection,
time
right,
and everything else like that. And I just, for me, I hate to be a Grinch, but I just set it in the router, scheduled it, and I'm like, I'm done.
Right. At 9 o'clock?
At 9 o'clock, you don't need to be on here.
Right. 9 o'clock, you just lost your internet access.
Right. To everything.
Right. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Go to bed.
Right. That makes total sense, and we probably need more parents like you out there.
The other thing I'm saying is, if you haven't done it, like if you the reins weren't as tight over the summer,
right.
you gotta.
It's the summer.
You loosened up a little bit like that.
Of course.
But
of course.
I'm saying around about now, if you haven't started already, should be the time when you're like, okay,
right.
You have been on Fortnite for the last 2 hours. You need to get off.
Right. And now, like you're saying, with school starting, this is probably the best time to try to establish a pattern. Say, all right, like you were just alluding to, it's been the summer. You've been able to sit there and play to your heart's content.
Right.
School starting. Now we're going to cut that back to X amount of time after we verify you've done your homework and everything.
Per week.
Per week. Right.
Per week. So I don't know. I just see that as a point. There was some tech tips we had. One stated, make tech use a family affair.
Yep.
I'm like, okay. I think it's good to have the conversation with the kids. And I think it really depends on your parenting skills, whether or not, like if you say 6 o'clock, you need to be off.
Right.
And if it's 6:07 or 6:15 and they're still on, then that's more with
device.
But that's more with the parent then.
Right, I agree.
It's
agree.
Because it's easy. I know growing up in your neighborhood, in your household with you and Linda, you're probably like, you know what? You need to be off. That's that. And you might say once, twice.
And then snatch.
Or
disconnect.
Or disconnect. I find it as to the point where I just schedule it.
Right.
I say it. It's already scheduled.
Right.
So it's like on you to be cognizant of, okay, you're sitting there and you're gaming with
on that
buddies.
Xbox.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right.
You better get out that Fortnite game. It's about to go down.
It really is about to go down. So,
well, like you said, one of those suggestions is try using the technology with your child. So when they need to look something up, go look it up with them. Make it interactive. Don't let it just be them staring at whatever screen they may be staring at.
You remember the years when people would say stuff like, you get let's say you have a child, and I think we were all guilty of this. Well, I'll speak for myself.
I'm sure we are too.
When you put your child in front of the TV for like 30 minutes,
of course,
and you're upstairs, you're cooking, you're doing whatever like that.
And really, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Of course, it depended on what was on the TV when you set the child in front of it. That I think is more important than the fact that, like you said, for that half hour where you can't have the younger. We're not talking 1-year-olds here.
Right.
But you can't have the child under you, and you need to get something done. It's like, all right, you want to watch this show? Go ahead, watch it. Sit here, just be quiet. Let me do what I got to do here, and then we'll get back to life. There's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of educational media out there. We won't just limit it to TV now. It's it's everything. So why not?
It says for parents they should dedicate tech-free times at home.
Well, you were already kind of hinting at that. Like, you're doing it now. I mean, it's 9 o'clock. It's tech-free time.
Right.
It's bedtime also.
Right.
But, sure, try setting some daily limits and, see if there's an effect. Again, I think a lot of this varies with the age of the child. When you're talking elementary school age, it's different than high school age. It's
true.
not necessarily that either shouldn't have a limit, but high school, there's a lot more freedom involved. They are growing versus, you have an 8-year-old.
When you guys are at the dinner table, would you allow mobile phones at the dinner table?
They try it, and most of the time we say, no. Someone would have it in their hand and try to put it up under the table. It's like, nope, stop it, put the phone down.
Gotcha.
So generally speaking, no.
Gotcha. Because, I think, well, I don't know. Because what I was going to say is family time and eating together and sitting there and talking and sharing about what went on during your day at school, at work, whatever, the people you converse with. It's like it's a lost art.
Yeah, everyone kind of does get into their own little world. And, it does, as they get older, that tends to happen more, I believe. So that is the moment, the chance you can take to all get together. And to make that a tech-free moment is probably more valuable and more effective.
How do you lead by example?
Well, one, like you just said, the phone at the table, don't anyone bring the phone at the table, don't just all disappear into the room, into your tech. And, the kids are going to watch what you do, and they're going to kind of behave and, model their behavior on yours.
That's true. That's true. So if I'm sitting there telling my son, okay, no Fortnite for you, but I'm sitting there playing Madden.
Right.
Maybe
kind of hard to do.
Might not be the best thing.
Right.
It might not be the best thing, but I don't know. I know one thing. It's hard for parents to make the shift back.
Right.
I think each year, as these kids get more and more immersed in the tech, trying to dial it back. And you kind of think this summer, I think I expressed to you that sent my son to an 8-day summer course. Now, it was only 3 hours a day.
Right. Okay.
Hour math.
Right.
Hour reading.
Okay.
And hour of, extracurricular activities like, working together in groups.
Okay.
Whether it's gym or whether it's this or whatever like that. And also having, and I'm guessing that, most kids would be like, dang, I'm so happy I don't have a father like that. Well, Pam, since she's an educator, we brought home books.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we were working on the 6th grade curriculum.
Get a jump start.
Do a little bit of this because it's so easy to just, have your kid, let your kid just do whatever they want to do. And I just think, sometimes you got to rein them in.
Sure.
And don't get me wrong, there was times when I kind of let them live this summer. Kind of let them live.
It is the summer, and
it's the summer.
They need a break too.
You need a break. I'm streaming with my friends right now. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm gonna let you go. I'm not gonna say anything. It's 11 o'clock at night,
right?
And I'm like, starting to boil a little bit, but I was just like, you know what? I'll let it go.
He's been doing everything else okay. Let him go.
He's been doing all right, But question. In less than 3 weeks is going to be a town hall, the annual town hall from Apple. They usually do it around September 12th, 11th, where they start talking about their latest and greatest. The only things I want to mention to you and see if you're excited, because it's been such a long time since they've been updated. A new Mac Mini and a Retina MacBook Air.
The Mac really between the two. Actually, the Mac Mini excites me or has me a little more interested than the MacBook Air. I'm MacBooked out.
Really?
Honestly, it's like, all right, yeah, Retina, of course, Retina screen, can't beat it. Gorgeous, everything else that goes along with that. But it's just another MacBook. Functionally,
Okay.
it's another MacBook. The Mini, it's about time. Let's get that. That is a really nice form factor. It's a really nice package.
It is.
Let's see what kind of power they put
upgraded?
into it. 5 years ago? Yeah, it's due. I expect it to be probably 3/4 the size, at least twice the power.
Yes.
Now don't drop USB. Don't do that. Which I would also expect them to do that because that's just the way they're going.
Well, they're just going to make everything just
USB-C, right? So okay, I'm looking forward to that because that's a great little.
I stopped by the Apple Store and I saw the 2018 version of the MacBook Pro, totally USB-C.
Right. Yeah, it's all done. It's a wrap.
And so I'm sitting here like, okay, so you're forcing me to get this adapter because it doesn't come along with it.
The adapters. That's the problem.
And the adapter has the USB ports and the HDMI ports.
Yes.
And
you got to have a dongle hanging off your device.
You got to have a dongle. Doesn't it bring you back to like the 90s when we needed a dongle for Zircon cards and everything else like that? Yeah.
Yes. This has been my gripe for the years now with Apple because and like you say, at least include the dongle. I mean,
right.
Like, they did it with the phone, right? So last phones they gave you the dongle so you can use a traditional headphone,
right?
With it. But I would believe that only happened because of a lot of kicking and screaming and bad news and bad feedback before they were released, and they were like, okay, we have to do this. But I mean, yeah, they're always the ones pushing the envelope. They're saying, all right, forget USB, let's go USB-C. It does have more power, more capability. I get that, so why not? I don't know. Yeah, I'm tired of dongles.
Like I said, I think of Zircon cards.
Yep.
I think of just all the stuff.
Yep. With a little connector and something to connect another cable to as intermediate.
And something that you either lose or you break, or you forget to bring along for the journey.
Yep.
And then you're just out there.
Yep.
So, I will be excited about the MacBook Air, the Retina.
Right, the Retina.
Because, number one, it's going to be cost effective.
You have pricing?
I don't have pricing, but...
Retina means money.
Retina does mean money, but I'm thinking the price of MacBook Pro Retina versus MacBook Air
Retina. Okay.
A little less horsepower, but if you give me that great screen...
You're good.
You're good. You can kind of rock and roll with it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. We shall see, because I'm sure they always like to put on the big show.
Yes.
I know a few people that are beta testing iOS 12.
Hear anything good? Anything that jumps out?
I just know the group FaceTime isn't there.
Okay.
I mean, I thought that was pretty... it kind of brings it to the point of Skype and Hangout and...
Group video messaging.
Right, group video messaging.
Been doing it for years.
That's like 1999. I mean, I kind of feel like it, and you're just not there yet.
So, and that's the question. Why isn't it there?
I don't know. They just said they didn't include it with the iOS 12 beta. So, either there was some type of quality assurance issues, or they're going to just roll it out separately, because I'm sure a lot of people will be excited to have that.
Sure. I mean, the question is, I'd still say, why hasn't it been integrated into messaging years ago? This isn't rocket science. They don't have to rebuild the wheel. It's not like you're doing any more with the hardware. It's software.
It's the software. I just really wanted to retire my Uvu. I don't know about you.
Oh man, I haven't opened that in long enough. Uvu, that's a throwback name.
Oh my goodness. This past week, so many different comments have come up regarding internet security, and with Microsoft and with Facebook, prepping for the 2018 midterm elections. Rich, I want to throw this question out to you.
Off the cuff, here we go.
Off the cuff, no script,
No
nothing.
script. Okay.
Could we fall down that rabbit hole again?
Of believing all the fake news that's thrown in our face? Is that the
Correct.
rabbit hole?
Correct.
Yeah, I think we could. And I think it would be the same people. Now, I don't think it would be we wouldn't fall as deep
Okay.
because there's more awareness now.
Okay.
There'd be a percentage of those who fell for it last time that would this time say, "Oh no, this is crap. This is fake news. I'm not going to read this." But there'll still be a huge percentage that's like, "Yeah, I believe it because it's still going to pop up in their timeline or
Right.
whatever whatever system, whatever network they're on, because that's their interest and it already knows what to point towards them." So that algorithm's going to say, "Yep, you need to look at this fake news, and you're going to fall for it." But like I said, I don't think it'll be as deep a fall this time. And hopefully, it does sound like they are doing the right things. What was the number of accounts that got disconnected last couple days ago? 690 something, I think it was.
Yeah, like six, almost 700.
Right. So that's a good sign. Yeah, pages
turned off.
Yes, that's a good sign. Even though, granted, in the scheme of things, that's such a minuscule number as well.
It is.
But it's a good sign.
When you have 2.5 billion?
Right. 695. Which means those must have been the most egregious.
Yes.
Of those
spewing
violators.
Whatever they're
right.
going to spew. I think totally against those pages. Primarily, we're talking about anti-Trump GOP candidates.
Interesting. The other side.
Yes. It's like you're like
that's good.
Big thing with Microsoft this week. Their blog that they pushed out there and the domain names and everything else like that. I think there were 6 bogus domain names
under Microsoft.
No, not under Microsoft. That they found.
Oh, okay.
That were like Senate.
Oh yes, I read something about this a little bit. Yeah,
it's good because you know what? As much as people
want free speech,
want free speech, but as much as people kind of bash Microsoft over the years,
right.
When they kind of say something, you kind of say, "Oh, you know what? I think we should listen."
Okay, we might want to pay attention.
Right, we might want to pay attention because this was like one of the first companies that was making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yep.
I mean, this is like legacy type money.
Right.
So it's good that. I mean, but of course, Microsoft is also hawking one of their new products also.
Well, of course. Well, it's a security product.
Yeah, it's a security product.
But the fact that they would, stop these, you can't call it a bogus site, but a misdirected site.
Right.
The fact that they would stop those, catch those, that kudos.
I think the software is called Account Guard. Account Guard.
That's like those who used to go to whitehouse.com.
Yes, yes.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Boo-boo.
It's probably still up. Don't do it.
So I can install Windows 95
on iOS. Yes, you can have the hotness of Windows 95 on. Why?
Why would I want this?
Why? I haven't. Just because you want to play with it. Just to say you could. Windows 90, not even 98, 95.
If you gave me Windows ME,
I might. ME.
I just might. Windows ME, man, it was really, really great. You got out of that 95 world, and you were kind of just like, oh.
In the new millennium, yes.
In the new millennium, this is just awesome. And it really wasn't.
Windows ME.
Windows ME.
That's when Microsoft said, okay, we are going to switch. This will be the last time we do a dedicated professional OS. Windows NT.
Yes. Yes.
NT4 and Windows Workstation Professional.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
And then Windows ME. Then they finally merged.
Windows ME was like your consumer version.
Right.
And it was just so buggy. And I could just remember reinstalling the OS like 500 times. And I'm just like, yo, this is not working.
And you still liked it. But I guess this does go to tell you that the performance of the hardware we have now compared to back then, you can run a full scale OS on your phone.
On your phone. On your phone.
Again,
I will say, Windows ME on my e-machine.
With 256 megs of RAM.
Yes.
And a 2 meg video card.
Oh my goodness.
So now what you have to be able to do is put Windows for Workstations on iOS. And then we can network our phone.
Yes. Then, finally,
and run mail.
Oh my goodness. I will tell you this. This is Late Night Parents with Rich and Ted. We are talking a little tech, getting ready to prepping for wrapping it up, talking about back to school, talking about tech, all the above. Before we get into talking about the Maverick, John McCain. Guess what I saw on my phone yesterday?
What?
On my phone, believe it or not, it said, and it just popped right up. This is how I know. They're listening, they're watching, the X-Files music, they're there, because I pull out my iPhone SE.
Love the phone.
And I tell you this much, Rich, I pull out the SE, and it said, Rich Valdez has updated a post. And I said, what is this? They said Rich Valdez is updated. I was like, I work with the guy.
What could he have done?
You know what? So I click.
Yep.
Next thing I know, I see the nicest message about you and Mrs. Valdez. 28 years.
28 years.
Oh, my goodness.
28 years yesterday. Yes. Thank you, Brian. Yeah,
oh, my goodness.
It's been a fun 28.
Wow.
She still puts up with me.
I was just, like I said, I had no idea. It just popped right up. It popped up. I should have took a screen capture.
That's how infrequently I post these days. See?
It just popped up. It said Rich Valdez updated a post.
Interesting.
And I'm like, what in the world is going on here?
Has his account been hacked now?
Right. And I see that, and I say 28 years.
Yep.
Golf clap.
Thank you. We celebrated actually out not far from you.
Really?
Havana Central.
Okay.
Last night.
Havana Central.
Roosevelt Field.
Roosevelt Field. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Nice. Wow. Well, congrats to both of you. Congrats.
Mrs. Valdez over there being quiet in the corner.
Very, very quiet.
Trying not to have her voice heard.
Here for the show, to commemorate the 28th anniversary.
Yep. She's here.
It's like a rolling anniversary. But once again, all the love and congratulations to you guys, and looking forward to 28 more.
Yep. Hopefully.
So he was a U.S. Senator.
Yes.
Presidential candidate.
Navy pilot. Prisoner of war.
Hero. And Maverick.
Yep. John McCain. One of those people who, here on his death, except for who I'm going to call the extremists, no one can really say anything bad about him.
No, not at all.
Everyone agrees, he might have been a little polarizing.
Yes.
But he voted his heart.
He voted with his heart.
He didn't vote the party line.
Yes.
All the time.
Country
many
before
times
party.
He didn't. Country before party. Yes, that was his statement. So yes, he has passed away. I guess that was quick. It was only a couple of days ago. He said, "You know what? No more treatments for brain cancer. I'm done." Right. And here we are. No more than like 5 days later.
I think even less.
I think so too, but I wasn't sure.
Right. I think even less. So
he passes away.
And you have politicians across the world.
Yep.
Celebrities.
Yep. Both sides of the aisle.
Both sides of the aisle.
Now, what I am already tired of is those, again, we'll call them the extremists. You go on your pick your social media platform, and they're out there. How could you call him a hero? He crashed 3 times in training, and he got caught, and this, that, and the other. It's like, yeah, but he was an honest. I think he was an honest politician, and that's 2 words that are pretty hard to put together.
Right. So true, so true. And it's like someone like him and his politics are going to be missed, whether you're on the left or on the right.
Right, very true.
Because he did want to pull people to the middle.
Yep. And then the other passing.
The other passing is playwright Neil Simon.
Odd couple.
The Odd Couple. You know?
I mean, 91, I honestly, I wasn't aware that the man was still alive, which is, this is great. But what a comedian, what a writer.
Yes.
He'll be missed in those circles.
I don't know, it's like each week, part of our childhoods, icons in our childhood.
Getting to those ages.
Yes.
And right now, it's like you're saying, it's, we're seeing those who were in entertainment, who we were looking at, movies, radio, TV. We're getting their passings. And, next it's going to, you start hearing your, older friends, older family members.
Yes.
It is just, let's play the circle of life, play the Lion King music. But that's what it is. And it's part of life. We have to accept it and take it as it comes.
You do. I'm just, it just kind of hits you. It hits you like a ton of bricks when you hear this person was 81 or this person was 76.
Right.
Like, whoa. Because, like I said, they were part of your childhood, growing up, and I don't know. I mean, I know along with life, there's death.
Yep.
But those are some people this week that will definitely be missed. And it's something. It just makes you think. But it also makes you think about the loved ones that you have, your family that you have, and that you don't waste time. Because that's the one thing, you could sit here and say, oh, I have this family member, and I haven't spoken to them for 10 years.
Right.
It's 10 years you won't get back.
You're never getting that back.
You're never getting that back. You don't know this person, or you had an issue with this person, and you didn't talk to this person, or, whatever petty situation happened. Life is too short. You got to take it. You got to enjoy it, live it, and keep it moving.
And don't hold grudges.
No, you can't hold grudges. You I don't know. Like I said, don't want to turn too preachy or anything else like that, but you can't. You got to be able to let this stuff go.
Yep.
It's easy for us to say forgive and forget, but you really do.
You really need to.
Do. If you have, anyone listening to the show, if you have an issue with someone and you haven't spoken with them, maybe you take the second out to reach out.
Yeah. Be the bigger person.
Yeah.
If you're feeling that way, be the bigger person. Pick up the phone, send the email, send the text message. Something. Reach out first, because when the time comes, when you're sitting there and you're thinking, "Gee, I should have."
How many times people that that you've talked with, and they said, "Wow, I should have talked to this person. I should have reached out," and they're sitting there. They're 6 feet under.
Right. And those are the conversations you have in those moments.
Right.
When everyone's sitting around thinking about a person who's passed. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. So try to avoid being the coulda, woulda, shoulda person.
So true. So true. So what do you got going on this week?
This week is hopefully a kind of light one. Things at work have slowed down a tad bit now from the big rush. So it's just, technically speaking, just rolling out computers, getting them prepped, get some people some new machines. Nothing big going on. And on the auxiliary side, nothing crazy this week. And week after next will be a little busy. A lot of items going on. Yeah,
week after the next. Oh, my goodness.
Got some plans for my vacation time.
Okay.
What about you?
Question is, you've got vacation, so that means I'm going to have to be in there working, sitting in your office.
Mi oficina es su oficina.
Sitting there, just being Rich Valdez.
Yes, you will have the new guy.
The phone picks up, and I go, hello. And they're like, yes, I'm looking for Rich. Oh, wait, Ted, you're not Rich.
You're not Rich.
Oh, goodbye. And I'm like, wait.
You'll get one of those many who'll be like, oh, hey, Ted. Or like they say to me, hey, Ted.
Oh,
I'm
my
like,
goodness.
No, He looks a lot better. You got the wrong one.
Oh my goodness! So, quiet week. We got holiday week next week.
Yep, Labor Day.
Labor
official
Day.
End of summer.
The official end of summer.
Any plans?
No plans. We're going to be here, but I think one thing is we will be off from here.
We'll be off from here. All right.
I think we will be off from here.
We'll put together the best of.
A best of. Send it to the engineer.
Yep.
Brian Graves, and hopefully he plays it on next week.
We'll put something together for him. You can handle that?
Yeah. You click one button, you go, and you fall
that's
asleep. And then you wait for that sports show.
That's it. Coming up next.
Best ways to get in contact with you?
I am Late Night Rich.
And I am the real Ted Hicks, and we are out of here.
Everyone, thanks for listening. Again, have a great Labor Day. Have a great week. We'll see you in live in 2 weeks.